We turn to some breaking news overnight in our Sunrise Smart Start. The crash on Burr Street near Dewey Avenue this morning in Rochester, ending with an arrest.
This began with gunfire around 12:30. RPD got that call for shots heard at St. Paul and Tyler Streets. No one was hit. Then police responded to this accident you see there at Burr. They determined both scenes are connected. Police say people in two cars were arguing, and that fight continued as they then crashed on Dewey. Multiple people detained. RPD says officers did find an illegal handgun on scene, and on that, a 23-year-old was arrested for criminal possession of a weapon.
Two people are hospitalized after crashing into a Rochester police cruiser, also injuring that officer inside. Police responded to the scene on Field Street right off of Monroe Avenue around 8:30 last night, where a car crashed into the officer's car when they had tried turning. Everyone who is hurt, all three people, including that officer, expected to make a full recovery. We turn to the latest information now. As News 8 has learned, a 15-year-old School of the Arts student has died after they fell from the roof of that school Monday afternoon following a mental health crisis.
That teen died hours later Monday evening. The news came out confirming what had happened just after 4 yesterday afternoon when RCSD released a statement on the loss, saying losing a young life is always a profound tragedy. School counselors and members of the district's trauma, illness, and grief team will be there supporting all the classmates, staff, teachers through this challenging time as everyone is working through their feelings and so much grief. We also spoke with leaders with the National Alliance on Mental Illness about some of the greatest challenges with mental health that children are facing every day. They do say the troubling trend is the national suicide rate is growing, even as the topic is still oftentimes considered stigmatized.
It seems like such an extreme that a lot of people feel the need to remove themselves, like, that could never be me. Yeah, mental illness and mental health, we can talk about that, but suicide, no, we don't need to talk about that. That's not happening that frequently. At the end of the day, it's not necessarily the quantity, because even just one person is too many to lose.
Rochester Mayor Malik Evans also shared his condolences, saying, "I'm very sorry to learn about the tragedy involving this 15-year-old. We also heard the city will host a forum for people aged 12 to 21 on the topic of mental health. This will be right there at SOTA, the school campus, Saturday, April 12th. The full statement we heard from the mayor's office can be found on our website. And again, if you, someone you love, is going through any type of need when it comes to mental health, there is the 24/7 national hotline for confidential care. You can call or text 988, simply get information, basic stuff, or the information that could possibly save a life.
The suspected killer of a corner store owner in Rochester over the weekend pleads not guilty in court.
That defendant, 42-year-old Tony Brown, facing a charge of second-degree murder. We were there as there was a large turnout for his arraignment Tuesday morning. Behind him, a group of his family and friends, and across in court, dozens of relatives and friends of 30-year-old Ali Saleh. The victim, police say Brown shot 4 times Sunday night on Clifford Avenue. Officers believe it may have been in response to a fight at that same store a few days ago that Saleh's friends say did not even involve him.
You know, the kid gave back to the young, the old, whenever he helped out to the community. You could also see the reflection on that when you go back to the store, you see people standing there from the community for him. So it's really such a senseless act from that person just to lose a soul like that.
Brown, after the arraignment, was sent back to jail. No bail. A preliminary hearing is scheduled for later this month. The case will likely go before the grand jury before then. A vigil in Saleh's honor will be held today at 1:30 right outside that store on Clifford. Also happening today, a potential end of a case against 2 parents arrested and charged with manslaughter after their 3-month-old baby boy was mauled to death last year in Rochester by a dog.
News 8 did report to you on this story involving Anastasia Weaver. She was originally set to stand trial later this month, but instead will be back in court today for a disposition hearing. Aran Spitzer live out there now with more details on the case. Aran.
Yeah, guys, the 20-year-old parents, Anastasia Weaver and Solomon Hawkins, were charged with manslaughter in connection to the death of their 3-month-old baby. That was last August. Now, prosecutors say the pair left Solomon Hawkins Jr. alone in an attic on Bidwell Terrace with 2 pit bulls for up to an hour while they went downstairs to smoke marijuana. When they returned, they found the little boy unresponsive and severely injured. The baby died hours later in the hospital. Earlier this month, Hawkins agreed to a plea deal that that comes with a 1 to 3 year sentencing agreement. Now, Weaver is due in court at 2 this afternoon, and we will, of course, keep you updated here on air and on our website, rochesterfirst.com. For now, reporting, we're on Spitzer News 8.
Thank you so much, Aram. In other headlines, President Donald Trump and other top U.S. officials continue to downplay a military leak from a group chat on the message app Signal. The president claims that a staffer who works for U.S. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz added the Atlantic editor Jeffrey Goldberg to the chat. However, Waltz said on Fox News Tuesday night he takes full responsibility for the security breach where sensitive military plans were disclosed on the app, and Goldberg was inadvertently invited to that text chain.
A staffer wasn't responsible, and look, I take full responsibility. I built the group.
Waltz denies knowing Goldberg personally. Top Democrats call for Waltz and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth to resign. President Trump, though, standing by his security team.
The Trump administration's new requirements when it comes to Social Security recipients leave many seniors who rely on this income confused, worried about what it means when they're looking ahead to getting that next check.
On that, these new rules are intended to streamline the process and combat widespread fraud within the system. Starting March 31st, Social Security recipients will no longer be able to access or change their information or benefit information over the phone. You'll have to go online or in person to an office, and some argue that will make it difficult for folks who don't have access to a computer. Lifespan here in Rochester says that their organization is ready to offer support to anyone who needs it.
We have older adult centers with computers that we can help them with. We can go to their homes and help them with that, to help them get online access if that's what they need, or we can help them arrange transportation to the Social Security office if they need something like that.
Important to note here, if you do not need to make any changes to your account, you're already receiving those benefits, you don't have to do anything. Now, they also encourage folks with issues and concerns, give Lifespan a call, but also call your legislators and explain how these changes are impacting your lives. As they do add, it does make a difference.
Weather coming up momentarily. First, though, sunrise traffic and another view outside over downtown from our Greater Rock Sky Eye. Accidents currently Hollenbeck Street, Tyler Street in northwest Rochester. Another one Lorimer Street west at Durkin Alley, and then one close to 490 on the east side at Rosedale Street and Roosevelt, that intersection. We'll have an update on your morning commute at 7:25. As promised, final forecasts.
Flake's fine.
Yeah.
We got light snow in the city. I know, gorgeous, right? For what it's worth, all of this is very light. We'll turn the camera here, and you got a little bit of a better view. The grassy surfaces, that's where you'll likely get the accumulation. Blacktop, it's going to be a little bit trickier. Sun coming up just in a couple of minutes here. Highs mid-30s today, 40s tomorrow, which will feel nice, upper 40s even, before we dip back down on Friday. Weekend, as of right now, does look warmer in the 50s with some scattered rain showers there, maybe a mix on Monday as well.
Just waiting patiently for a ray of sunshine.
I know, waiting for April for that. That does it for us. Have a great day, everybody.
Follow News 8 wherever you are on RochesterFirst.com, Facebook, X, and on our app for news and weather.